In human relationships, conflicts often do not arise from a lack of love, but rather from a lack of understanding. As Lao Tzu once said, true wisdom lies in the ability to understand others. To truly care for someone means not only to give love, but also to offer in the way that person needs. When love is expressed without understanding, it may even create distance rather than closeness. There's an old fable about a fisherman and his wife that illustrates this truth. The couple lived their entire lives together in harmony, never once engaging in quarrels. Every day, the wife, being gentle and diligent, prepared the best fish for her husband. She would carefully remove the head and tail, believing that the middle portion was the most delicious, and served it to him with love. She herself ate only the head and tail, content with filling her stomach. For decades, she thought she was showing the greatest affection by always giving him what she believed was the best. One evening, as the sun was setting, the old fisherman sighed and confessed to his wife, "In my entire life, I have never asked anything of you, but if I don't say it now, perhaps I never will. Could you cook me a fish head just once? All my life, that has been my favorite." His wife froze in disbelief, tears rolling down her face. She whispered, "All these years, I thought the middle of the fish was the tastiest part. Out of love, I gave it to you, while I quietly ate the heads. I never knew you actually desired what I thought was worthless." This story reveals one of life's greatest misunderstandings. The problem is not that we do not love, but that we love others in our own way, not theirs. True intimacy lies not in forcing, not in constant yearning, but in a natural understanding of each other's needs. Love without understanding may be noble, but love with understanding becomes profound. What is rarer than love itself is the presence of someone who truly understands us. If we are fortunate enough to find such a person, even just one in a lifetime, then we are already abundantly blessed. Story number 2. In life, we all hope that our secrets will be respected and kept safe. Yet many people forget that if we wish for our own privacy to be honored, we must first learn to protect the secrets of others. Words once spoken can never be taken back. A single sentence, casually revealed, can travel far beyond what we imagine and may cause irreparable harm. There is a saying, "A secret that leaves a mouth will spread to the world." This is why it is dangerous to confide recklessly, especially in moments of excitement or under the influence of alcohol. How often do we hear someone say, "We are such close friends, I will tell you everything, but promise not to tell anyone else"? Yet, the moment a secret is spoken aloud, its power to spread multiplies. When we cannot control our words, we risk betraying the trust of those who once believed in us. A story illustrates this principle clearly. A young man once applied for a job at a large company. After the interview, the candidates were given a written test. One of the questions shocked him. List as many secrets of your previous company as you can. Looking around, he saw others eagerly writing, treating the question as a chance to impress. But he hesitated. Finally, he handed his paper back and said, "I'm sorry, but I cannot answer this. Even if it is my former company, I still have a duty to protect its confidentiality." The next day, he received a letter of acceptance. The company praised his integrity, noting that a person who knows how to guard other secrets is exactly the kind of person they need. The lesson is clear. Respecting confidentiality earns trust, while betraying it only invites disappointment. Even beyond secrets, there are private matters between two people that deserve silence and protection. To be trusted is one of the greatest compliments we can receive. And trust begins with knowing how to keep what others share in confidence. Story number 3. There's an old fable about two men who lived deep in the forest. One was named Hunger, the other Perfection. Hunger was always starving, while Perfection insisted that everything he did must be flawless. Every morning, Hunger would grab his axe and head out to hunt. His efforts were often clumsy. Sometimes he returned with nothing, sometimes with only a few berries, but at least he kept moving, driven by his empty stomach. Perfection, on the other hand, refused to act until he had drawn up the perfect plan. He spent entire days mapping out strategies, analyzing directions, and imagining ideal conditions. Yet, while he calculated, he never lifted his axe. Days passed. Hunger stumbled upon a large prey and finally enjoyed a feast. Wanting to share, he rushed home with meat in hand, only to discover that Perfection had already died of starvation. Even in his final moments, Perfection was still refining his unfinished plan. The lesson is simple. The perfect plan does not exist. Only decisive action does. Steve Jobs once said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." Hunger forces us to act. Foolishness pushes us to try, even without certainty. In love, this hunger drives someone to confess their feelings, even at the risk of rejection. In career and life, it fuels the courage to take the first step, learn from mistakes, and keep moving forward. Those who wait endlessly for the right time or perfect conditions often discover that opportunities have already slipped away. Meanwhile, those who dare to act, though hungry and seemingly foolish, create their own chances. Great achievers are rarely those who calculate endlessly. They are the ones who embrace imperfection, carry a restless desire, and move forward despite uncertainty. To stay hungry is to stay alive to possibility. To stay foolish is to remain open to growth. Together, they form the mindset that transforms dreams into reality. Story number 4. We often search for perfection in love, believing that the right formula or timing will guarantee happiness. Yet, as one professor's story reveals, love cannot be calculated. It is not about probabilities or flawless plans, but about authenticity, timing, and the courage to truly connect. Professor Michael Ticker was a man who valued perfection above all else, especially in matters of love and marriage. From a young age, he worried about making the wrong choice. What if he married a woman who wasn't the perfect match, and by doing so missed someone better? Driven by this fear, he devoted years of study and calculation to determine the ideal probability of meeting his perfect partner. Through his research, he concluded that the probability of finding true love peaks at 37%. If a man began meeting women at the age of 18, the best time to make a decision would be at exactly 26.1 years old. On that day, according to his formula, he should propose to the woman he liked most among all those he had met, since the chance of her being the perfect one would be highest. Armed with this logic, Michael disciplined himself. Before turning 26.1, he rejected every potential relationship, no matter how good the woman seemed. He waited, cold and detached, believing perfection lay ahead. Finally, the long-awaited day arrived. With urgency, he ran out into the crowd, determined to find the woman he admired most and propose on the spot. But reality is not mathematics. When Michael blurted out, "Marry me," to the woman he fancied, she was horrified, shocked and frightened. She screamed for help, mistaking him for a madman. The professor stood speechless. His calculations had been flawless. But life is not governed by probability. Love requires more than numbers. It requires timing, sincerity, and mutual willingness. This story reminds us that while logic and planning have value, relationships cannot be reduced to equations. You may calculate the perfect partner, but you cannot calculate whether you are the perfect partner for them. By clinging to perfection, Michael missed the real essence of love.